Good evening, and welcome to this meeting of the Old Kings Highway Committee of the Town of Yarmouth, which is being held in accordance with Chapter 470 of the Acts of 1973, as amended, at 7:15 p.m. on Monday, February 27th, 2023, at the Yarmouth Town Hall Hearing Room, located at 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. Moreover, pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, considering certain COVID-19 measures, this meeting is being run in a hybrid mode, live and on video. 5 new applications for certificates of appropriateness will be heard this evening in the order listed on the agenda. Please be reminded that our committee's main purpose is to review items for appropriateness and setting, and it is the responsibility of the applicant to comply with the regulations of other town boards and departments, including building, conservation, engineering, health, zoning, and the sign inspector. You should know that there is a 10 calendar day appeal period starting once a decision is filed with the town clerk. Any person aggrieved by our decision tonight can appeal to the Regional Commission of the Old Kings Highway. Our office administrator will be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this process. So the first item on the agenda tonight is 23-A011. Charles and Sharon Villancourt, did I pronounce that correctly? Are the owners. Eric Tolley is the agent, and add second-story floor dormers to 9 Embassy Lane. I presume this is Eric?
I am. How are you
And
tonight?
fine, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
So present your project to us,
I
please.
will. Congratulations on your newly appointed chairmanship, or condolences, however you want it.
I'll take the former. It's too sad to think about the latter.
Yeah, I'm Eric. I'm Eric Tolley, representing Charles and Sharon Valancourt of, 9 Embassy Lane here. What we have before you tonight is what I like to call your standard ranch to cape conversion, where we take a ranch, remove what is a relatively shallow pitch roof, and we turn it into a cape with a 12 pitch and some shed dormers. This allows the homeowners to turn this from a weekend and summer home to what will be their full-time home. So just to take you through the drawings very quickly, as I mentioned, the primary scope of work is the main body of the house, removing the roof, and lots of siding work here. I've provided you with colors for the clapboard. And I think it's all pretty straightforward, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Tolley,
Yes.
for the front projection, is that a board and batten siding that you're putting on there?
That is what the clients would like to do on that, just that front
Area.
corner lot, but
And I have a question for you. I think it's a very nice application. I think it's a very nice design. I think it's very handsome. But my only issue, the only question I have is, and I wonder if there's programmatically a reason for it, are the windows. And, by the way, well, before I ask that, more importantly, what program do you use to get this kind of overlapping line thing?
I use a program that is not familiar. Most people use AutoCAD. This is a program called DataCAD, and there is a line setting in there where you can set what they call overshoots.
It's really nice, very evocative, and the line weights are nice, too.
Hand-sketched
Yeah,
feel to
it's nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is the muntin pattern on the front, which has that, the longer horizontal rather than the vertical, which is not terribly traditional, and I'm wondering, not the center window on the second floor dormer with the cross pattern, I don't question, but I'm wondering, they seem shorter, and I'm just wondering programmatically if there's a need for it, or if it would be possible to maybe extend them long enough so that we could get the vertical muntin to be longer than the horizontal muntin, if you follow my meaning.
But you'd like the pane sizes to be closer to equal.
No, not necessarily. More like on the rear elevation. Obviously, those are much bigger windows.
Yes.
But you see that the vertical the verticals of the pane is taller than the horizontal of the pane. Mostly in windows, historic windows, you never see the horizontal pane. You never see it go this way. It always goes that way. And I'm just wondering if that could be, or again, programmatically, is it something that would be a problem to do?
So from a programmatic perspective, the windows on the first floor are above the kitchen counter.
All of them?
All three, yes.
Okay, you're extending that.
Yeah, so I don't have the ability to make them taller.
course.
So in my mind, it made sense to match the pattern on the second floor.
Okay.
So the existing windows are being replaced?
Those were dining room windows.
Those were dining room windows.
I see. So the
Yes.
kitchen is moving,
Kitchen's moving into that front left
So
corner.
he's reusing the dining room windows on the side.
right.
And that's why. So he can't make them longer because it'll cut the counter,
That's correct.
which is 3 feet off the ground. All right. I understand programmatically that you can't do it.
Unless,
They don't have a kitchen.
You have
There,
n-
we've solved the problem.
as I was saying, unless, instead of 3 windows, you had 4 to the left of the doorway. I'm just throwing it out there because I think Rick has a good point about the verticality, the desirability of vertical panes rather than horizontal panes. Might that be doable?
I apologize, I'm having trouble understanding how that would help. It doesn't allow, it would not.
You get
allow-
narrower windows.
I'm sorry?
You would have narrower windows.
Oh,
But would it though? Because effectively take the big space between the 2 and the 1, that could be filled with a window. You just lose the shutters.
right. And my clients do feel strongly that they would like the shutters, so in keeping with what is there, they're trying to mimic, albeit not exactly, but to some extent, what exists. So they like that 2-1 with the shutters. So,
I think the shutters are a bonus.
and I think we could agree it would be odd to have 4 windows and just a pair of shutters on either end, or a single shutter on either end.
Is there, sorry, go ahead.
Please.
I was going to say, is there another grid pattern that could provide more verticality to the windows, both on the second floor and the first floor, that might?
There again, we were simply trying to match, you see in the pictures that one window on the front elevation, on the front right in the area of the board and batten, that window is going to remain, and that's an existing 6/6.
Right.
So, we were just trying to keep, we were favoring the 6/6 rather than the pane size, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Figure out how we can get to,
Are these double-hung windows?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Are there any comments from abutters or any other interested parties regarding this project? Any other comments from the
I
committee?
do have one other question, and I'm curious. The existing house is all cedar shingles. And they're proposing going to clapboards on the front facade and part of the side, and then shingles, and I'm a little confused why they want a third material on the exterior, why they want the hardy board and batten on that one gable end.
It's very trendy right now, and it's quite nice looking. I mean, we're seeing it a lot everywhere, not only in historic districts, but everywhere. And it has been well accepted by this committee in the past. So the clients liked the look of that and wanted to add a little accent. That will be white to contrast the gray that the rest of the clapboard will be. So, little contrast, a little variation was the concept.
So there'll be no grills on that section with the board and batten?
No, the same window remains.
Will be grills, and it'll be
They're
6/6 also?
It's the same window. It's a I
okay.
think he's just showing us any place he doesn't draw
And the
window
door?
in detail.
It's a graphic technique, I think,
Yeah.
is what we
And
architects
the door?
call it, right?
What's the, how are the lights on the door?
The lights on
Well, the door, the entryway.
the front door?
Yes.
It's a 2/3 or a 1/3 glass panel, as I call it. The top third is glass. I can see where you're going with the pane sizes, so if you'd like me to alter, I can certainly make that match if that is your desire.
It's kind of a mission thing going on with that door.
So,
So it's a solid panel below and two lights above.
Yes, correct.
I think it's rather nice.
Well, it reflects the small window above, I guess you could say that, to some degree. Any other comments or observations?
I'll just say that I actually rather like the board and batten. It has, I see what you're doing here, and I think it's going to be very handsome. I mean, I love the shingle. It's a charming little house, but I think it's going to be very handsome.
I think it adds some visual interest. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve this well-organized and put-together application.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for putting together a very good application and with handsome drawings. Your drawings are very handsome.
Thanks for an easy hearing, right?
So before, I
Thank you.
assume you know the drill, Eric, so before you leave, you have to sign something for us. A little bit.
First, only the firstborn son. That's, all right.
Assuming I can find it here.
That's your site plan. Okay.
Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you're all set. Good night.
You make our job easy with applications like that. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
The next item on the agenda is 23-A012, proposal to install 17 solar panels on the front side and rear roofs of 41 Center Street. Barbara Hannon is the owner and Skyline Solar is the agent. And do we have either Barbara or Skyline present tonight? We do.
No skyline.
Okay. So,
Did you think they were
Are you
joining
Barbara?
tonight?
Yes. John. He's my husband, who owns the house also.
okay. And what is your name, sir?
John,
John. So we have John and Barbara Hannon here. And tell us about your project.
the project is to install solar electric panels on the house. And in the rear, we have a structure in the rear, there's some to go on that as well.
Is that on the application?
I don't see it.
Yeah,
It's on the, were you given the system design Muntins.
It has that picture. Should be.
So one thing that I found about this application is that the way it's presented in our packet, the array, the picture of the array is extremely small. So I wonder if one of you would be willing to come up and show us exactly where you're planning on putting these panels?
Is this a better picture? Yeah. Oh, on the house. Oh, okay.
No, I printed these today. I drove by the house and shot these photos. Right, I know. It's very, you need a magnifying glass to look at that, so I thought if you could just show, okay.
One goes here.
Okay. And on this roof also?
Yes.
Both sides?
No, no, not on that side.
Just on this side?
According to this plan, on this side, and this roof here.
These two?
Right. But then, here's the engineering drawing of it. This is Center Street.
Mm-hmm.
This is the left side of the house.
Yeah.
This is the porch. This is part of the structure.
Mm-hmm.
And it jogs back in again. And there's a addition put on. This is,
So they're gonna be on this, is it this roof here? Is that the roof you're talking about now?
that roof is a garage roof, there won't be anything on that.
So
Okay,
where's
so-
that roof? Is that,
Where is this roof?
It's gonna be on this side of the roof. A few panels are gonna be over there.
Here?
No.
On that structure,
on the-
but on
It's on
the south,
that
the left
set
side? Okay.
on the north side.
All right, so we're talking about this roof, and this roof. Is that right?
Correct.
And then there's a roof behind here that you don't.
Facing away from Center Street.
Right. Here's the,
Oh, that's.
Bob, I can help you here. It goes here, on the front, right there. One. There are two more here. There are two more here. And then on the other side of this, there's quite a number. There's all of these on the back side of that. And then here, there's all of these. So on the front, there's that one that I just drew here.
And the rest of
On here, there's three here. There's two here. And then on the back side and on the side which you're not showing here, as you drive down the street, you can see them. There's all of these.
So this array and this array
Yes,
are or are not visible from Center Street?
they are visible. This,
Okay.
as you come down Center Street this way, you look directly at the side of this house. So you can see all of this, really all of this. And then and then this, and then from the front, you see all of this, and then this one. So there's one there, and then again, as I drew here, you will see these three here from the side. Then you see these here, and then as you come down the street this way, everything on this side will be visible here, and then you will
Okay,
be
but the
between-
most prominent ones are these.
I would actually say that these would be very prominent as well.
so
Unless
it's
you're
like
standing
behind
right
this
in front of
gable end, basically?
Correct. These possibly you'll see them on the end. So it's as you drive down the street, you will easily see these, and then all of these. These will be kind of on this receding roof from you. You'll be looking at them at the end.
No, you won't.
not from that direction.
Oh no, you will see as you come down the street this way. This is the bump out here. You will see these.
When you're coming this way, you can see it's behind here, it's before the garage.
I know. Yeah, the garage is back here.
But, you won't see these because they're on this part of it.
As I said, these here on the back side of the roof, you might not see very prominently, but all of these on this L on the back, you would.
You might see some of those.
Yeah. Let me see if
You
I
can
can.
see the skylights from the building.
Yes, yeah. Google Maps. Let me
Okay.
Get the view of it.
Thank you.
Forty-one Center Street.
So, put that back if you want.
Here's the Google Earth view. And,
Here, Bob.
this way you'll see all that. You'll see all that.
Yeah.
So here you are, here. So there's the front
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So here's that back, there the skylights you spoke of. So you can see these, and as they said, these on the back side of that, you effectively wouldn't see, but you'll see those, and you'll see them, they'll effectively cover between the skylight, they'll be completely around the skylight there.
So, what I'm still confused about is where are these?
Those are here, those are here.
Those are
and
around the
here.
skylight?
Yeah, there's a skylight right
So,
there.
okay, so,
So these,
Yeah.
this side here, all of these, you really can't see.
yeah.
But these are gonna be right there.
That's what
and
this
this
is
is
what
right
I
there.
said at the outset. I was confused when you said this is, I
This is
thought you meant this
behind
is
it.
prominent too.
This, well, you see it here. So
Yeah.
as you come down, but yes,
Okay,
but these
so-
three here would be right there
Yeah.
and right there.
So well, let my fellow committee members address this first, and then I will put in my 2 cents worth.
First, let me see. I think your house is adorable. It's a really charming little all of the roof lines. It's just really pretty. You drive down the road, it really stands out to you. It's, and you're welcome. And I think what you'll hear from my other committee members is probably, we haven't discussed this, but, of course, is that these are very prominent. And I just want to ask, and I wish we had someone from your solo group here. Behind the house, you have that carriage house,
Right.
which has an east-facing and a west-facing roof with no trees. And I just wonder, and I was asking out loud, did you explore putting them on that roof? It's set behind the house. It has the east, it doesn't face south, agree, understood, but it has an east and a west. And the reality is here you're relying on that to a big degree on the backside of the house. I wondered if, did you discuss that with them? Because I think being that it's back from the street, it could preserve that real adorable charm of your house, which is really sweet, and just get them back a bit.
It also has the advantage of having a very
Shallow pitch.
dormer with a very flat
Yeah.
pitch.
Even if it was here and there.
Yeah, which would be very appropriate for solar panels.
Thank you
You
for
get a
bringing
lot of
that up.
benefit from that.
We've been in contact with the representative from the company and stressed to them that they need to have a representative here
Yeah,
tonight.
that's very unfortunate. But,
They sent us back in writing a letter that they don't participate.
What?
Sent us in writing a letter that they don't participate
This
they
kind of
don't
meeting.
participate?
in meetings.
Wow.
I think we're dealing with a local person, but I think the solar panel installer is in New Jersey.
Okay.
They don't participate. I've never heard that. I've been on this committee for many years, and I've never heard that before.
What I'd say to you, I think the application is problematic because of the prominence of it, and because again, this is such a great house. It's such a sweet house, and I think you have. I'm not a solar person. I don't pretend to be. But in terms of the as the chairman said, in terms of the area you need, the facing the direction you need in that carriage house, you have a perfect opportunity, quite frankly, I think, to get better coverage than where you have it now, and leave your house unencumbered by these panels. And it's such a sweet house. I really haven't seen one quite like it. And I've not been down Center Street. I've never looked at it. And when I drove by to look at it, I said, oh my gosh, this is really adorable. Is it the 40s? I'm going to guess. When was this house built?
18 something.
Oh, it's that old.
Really? It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house.
And we've modified, we've owned it for 30 years.
Yeah, it's been modified, but
Modif-
it's been
mod-
done very sensitively over time. It has all of these roof forms. It's just a sweet, sweet house. And behind it, it's not like we're saying, sorry, you have a perfect palette set back. And quite frankly, I don't see why it wouldn't be less expensive, because I think you could group them more efficiently on that back thing.
Yeah.
So will you have that in your recommendation?
I would, if I dare
Writing?
speak for my compatriots here on the
Please
panel,
do.
if I dare speak, I think it would not be very easy to get this as it is approved. And I think, though, if you came before us with them on the carriage house, I think you wouldn't have an issue. And I do think it would serve you better. If I may be so bold, did you speak with any other companies? Because as the chairman said, no one has ever hung out here to drive with these solar issues because it has had, unfortunately, a history of being controversial, and the solar people can answer questions that you can't, that I can't. And so I know there are many companies out there that would probably be very happy to have your business, but they should have sent a representative, because they could easily answer the question of whether you could get. Again, I'm no expert, and I don't pretend to be, but when I drove by and I looked, I said, oh my God, there's these perfect roofs to put all of this material on, leave this lovely little house untouched, and get you everything you want. And I think that that's what you should do.
I think maybe part of their thinking was, and I won't speak for them, the main service comes into the house, halfway down the driveway, if you will.
Oh.
That's where the meter is, that's where the service comes in. We did have some discussion about the electronics that goes with the solar panels. It has to be tied into the main meter, so that,
However they do it.
how,
They could easily trench that and make
They
that
could
happen
trench
for
that.
you, easily. And that's where I would say, again, you need an advocate here for that. But I think, would you agree, Mr. Chairman?
I think the points that the vice chairman have made are excellent points. I would also add that Center Street is a lovely street. You have a lovely house on a lovely street in the heart of the historic district. So it's a particularly sensitive area of Yarmouthport. And my feeling is that you have an excellent opportunity to get the energy efficiency you want without adversely affecting the curb appeal of your house. That's the way I'll put it. And I think in the long run, you'd be happier with a well-thought-out solar array that's far less conspicuous from Center Street. I'm judging that you have no plans to leave this house, but I think from a value point of view, the house right now is worth more than it would be for from a resale perspective if the solar panels were put as the company has suggested. So from a lot of perspectives, I think it would behoove you to go back to either this company or some other company, tell them what our reservations are. I think you understand what our reservations are, and ask them to come up with something that we can all be happy with. And I think it's doable. I really do.
I don't think
I'm
you have to-
optimistic that you can get the efficiency you want without the adverse aesthetics implications of the way in which this current system is proposed. So my suggestion would be that we table this application.
So you want to table it, or do you want to deny it?
I think it would be kinder
Yes.
to table it.
Okay.
And go back to either this company or some other company. That's your choice. If you're happy with who you're working with, that's fine. I do think it's odd that
They need to be
aren't
here.
here. But that's maybe beside the point. And come back to us with a different proposal, bearing in mind the suggestions that we've made tonight, which I honestly think are better.
I will tell you this, had it been on the carriage house area, as we've described approximately, I would have absolutely no reservation in approving that application for you. So, again, as the chairman has said, I don't think you have to sacrifice anything, and I do agree that it would dramatically improve the appeal of your house. I mean, I'll just speak personally, although, you know, I know that's not really my role, but personally, if your house were for sale and where those solar panels were where they are, I would probably pass on that. But if they were on the carriage house, I'd be like, oh my God, beautiful little house, and we have solar, and they're going to pay us every month. So I would agree with the chairman. I think we should table this, and it should be redesigned. And in terms of getting the power to it, I'm sure it would be very easily to trench through your driveway and extend and bring power in to those. Probably easier to do it this way for them, but in terms of servicing you in your home, the other way would be better.
All right, I'm not too sure about that. But again, we verbally requested that they show up here. They sent a letter saying we don't
I'm sorry to hear
fit
that.
in that.
Well,
And so we'll just, if you table it, do you give a reason for tabling it, or you just?
well, because our other option would be to vote on it as it's been presented, and I think you can probably guess what the vote would be. So, from my perspective, thinking about your best interest, it would be preferable from your point of view for us to table the application rather than, I'm only one voice up here, there are two others, but if I read the tea leaves correctly, you're not going to get the result, the result you want if we vote.
I'm trying to get the result that we need.
Take my advice.
If we have to look at another contractor, then that's what we'll do. But I don't want to be looking at contractors for.
Well, maybe, I'm not saying that you can't continue to deal with the company you're currently dealing with. I do think that when you come back to us, that it would be a good idea if they were here to represent you, or sit beside you to present the application, so that if we have additional questions, they can answer those questions.
But that said, I think what the chairman is also saying is if you had come with two before us tonight, with an application with those solar panels on the carriage house, and they weren't here, we would probably have enough information in the design of it to vote on this application in a way that would make you happy. So you don't have to have them here in front of you, but why don't you have them revise your design? If you're pleased with working with them, go back to them and.
So the consequence of what we're suggesting is that you're going to lose a little time. That's all.
Okay.
You're going to get a better result. It's going to take you a little longer, not much. All right?
And if I
You
can,
don't have to reapply. You just have to submit revised drawings to us.
Then you'll set another date.
right, and if I can add one more thing for you, I would, when you speak with them, or if you go with someone else, give them the thought, and this may be implied, but I just want to put it out there so you're clear, you want to minimize the visibility from Center Street. That's the goal we're looking for, to minimize the visibility of the panels from Center Street.
Right, and I think that we
We did,
Do
I
that.
don't think they listened.
house across the street has solar panels.
I'm aware of that.
You know,
I'm aware
I
of
mean,
that.
yeah,
That
and
was,
they-
that was an interesting application, and
I don't think that was,
we're still investigating whether that was actually
we're
approved.
investigating that one.
But assuming that it was approved, first of all, one of the, if we're going to talk about comparables, we're not governed by precedent. So in other words, every case is considered on its own merits. We don't say, well, the house across the street has solar panels, therefore, of course, we have to give you your solar panels wherever you want the solar panels. No, that's not the way it works. Also, they have one very discrete array. It's on the garage. It's behind, it's in the back half of the house.
Center Street.
Well,
It's very I agree with you, and we're still trying to find out whether that actually came before us and was approved or just happened.
I'm not complaining about that.
Okay,
And-
all right,
and
okay.
I would hope that, I don't know, I'm not so sure you're not governed by precedent.
Well, it's not that we're influenced by it, but we're not, this is, by the way, I'm speaking on the advice of our lawyer. We have a lawyer who advises us on our procedures and what we can do, can't do, should do, shouldn't do. And he has definitively said, you are not governed by precedent. In other words, this body changes, we're all volunteers. A couple of years from now, you may see entirely different people up here. I'm not saying you will, but it's possible. And some of the people who sit here are more lenient about solar panels than others. So what happened in the past is not something that we have to adhere to in the present. But insofar as the house across the street is concerned, I'm not saying it's not relevant. It has relevance. Insofar as that house is concerned, the way in which those panels are arrayed, the fact they're very cohesive, they are prominently visible coming down Center Street, I'll give you that. They're in the
I'm not
back of the
complaining
house.
about that.
Pardon me?
I'm not complaining about that,
Okay,
by the way.
all right. Well, so,
Your house is not as nice.
anything else before we make a motion to table this application?
I just want to say, please understand, we really want it, we want to give this to you. That is our, we dislike having to send people away, truly. But we do believe there's a better solution that aesthetically, and that really, the aesthetics and the character of the neighborhood is what we're most concerned with. And I-
Ultimately, you're going to be happier.
Yes.
Ultimately,
And
you'll
have
be
everything you
happier.
want. I think you can have your cake and eat it too.
Right, okay.
All right, I move to table this application.
Second.
All those in favor of
Aye.
tabling? Aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We hope to see you soon.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is to build an addition on the rear of 17 Wild Rose Terrace. Maria and Len Dorlando are the owners, and Annie you're going to help me with the pronunciation of this, Mishnowitz? Is-
McNevich?
Can't look at it and pronounce
McNevich.
it. McNevich.
McNevich.
Okay. I'm sorry, I mangled your name.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Scottish, Polish?
It is
Okay,
Polish,
so-
yeah, but they sound Irish.
So I'm going to refer to you as, is it Ann or Annie?
Ann,
Okay, I'm going to refer to you as Ann.
most people do.
Okay. Would you like to present your project to us?
Yes, thank you. I represent Maria and Lenny DiOrlando, and they are going to put an addition on the rear of the house, which doesn't show from the street. The only thing that does show from the street is the roof line adjacent to the existing garage. I'm making it go higher by moving the ridge over 5 feet so that I can get water off the roof lines off the back of the house.
Can you say that again, please? You're moving what, 5 feet?
So if you look at the first drawing,
Right,
you'll see the section where it says proposed new roof line.
yes.
So what's happening is, right now, it's equal to the one that's right next to the house, but I have to raise up that portion of the roof to get the ridge line 5 feet over, so that I shed water properly
I
where
see.
the additions are gonna come in.
By the way, I love your drawings.
Yeah, Ms. McNevich,
you.
I love your drawings.
They're old
you-
school.
Old school, love the hand-drawn border, love the little Wrightian trees behind the house. I love everything about them.
Oh, thank you.
And while I have the floor, I will say, I think your application is great. I think it's lovely. I like the way you did the roof line, even the fact that you have those 2 windows in the door and the roof line behind it kind of goes to the extent of it. I think it's well proportioned. I think it's great.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other comments from the committee or questions?
Well, the only question I had was about why that roof line was higher, but you just explained it.
Any questions from abutters or other interested members of the public? Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve this application.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 A hearty aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, if you would kindly put your Ann Hancock on this.
You're Ann McNevich.
funny.
Use your own pen, that's fine.
A nice Irish name.
That's funny, because I never,
Oh, are you really?
I married that name.
I see.
It was a tough one.
What was your name?
Donahue.
Donahue. Well,
Almost a deal breaker.
how many times did you have to practice signing McNevich?
I could, we worked together, and I could either say it or spell it. I couldn't do both. So I nailed it.
Well, just think if you got married nowadays, you would have just kept your maiden name, right?
That's true. All right.
It's always a pleasure to see
You are
handsome
all
drawings.
set.
Those are very
Thank you.
nicely
Yeah,
drawn, very,
old school, but
Oh, I love the drawings.
fun to do.
they are fun to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. I think we're missing the first page of this next one. There it is.
The next item on the agenda is 23-A015 to build an addition off the left gable end of 974 West Yarmouth Road. Damien and Jennifer Parso? Close. Okay, are here. And are you Damien?
I am Damien, yes.
Okay, Damien, would you present your proposal to us, please?
Yes, I'm looking to build an addition for a master bedroom, office area with a walkout basement. Keep it historically appealing. Need more room for a growing family. We're done growing. We've reached the max.
So, when we think of Cape Cod, we think of your house, right?
Yes.
That's the truth. So, as you see, I'm the wallflower here. The shy one. I think it's a very handsome addition. Well, one, it's not drawn on the drawings, but I am assuming you're not taking your chimney down.
No.
Okay.
No, I just paid a lot of money for that chimney to
Oh, yeah,
be
okay, good.
replaced.
Here's my only issue with, your house is lovely. It's a beautiful home. It has beautiful 12/12 windows that have muntins on the outside. And you're proposing windows with muntins between glass. And that is my only issue. I think, first of all, your house is of such high quality and so nicely done with those beautiful windows. They make new windows that are called, they call them true divided light now, that have the muntins on the exterior. And I think, we have many applications where they call for them between glass. We just had one, but the windows have them between the glass on the existing house. And with this house being as it is, I think you really have to have, I wouldn't change a thing other than, what is the brand of the windows you're using? Anderson 400 series. They have them with exterior muntins, and that would be the only thing that I think really is important in this application, particularly with a house of this quality and in character on the street. That's my only comment. Other than that, I think it's a lovely designed building. I think it's proportional, the scale of it, the massing of it, to my mind, is all entirely perfect for what you have there.
Well, my only qualm with the 12 over 12 and the muttons on the exterior is the dormer on the back side of the house, the bathroom on the first floor, and the gable all have 6 over 6 and existing between the glass.
On the backside,
Yeah, I think we're concerned with the street side.
the street side.
I know you said that you don't take, you take each case separately and all that, but as I look around at everywhere I look in Yarmouthport, it's getting new windows, and I'm seeing an awful lot of
Is
between
this
glass.
a maintenance consideration or a cost consideration or both?
Both, yes. Yep. And I do feel that 6 over 6 is still very traditional, and
You're drawing them as 12, they're on the drawing, they're drawn as 12 over 12.
They are.
it's showing existing. It's not what is actually proposed.
Oh, so this drawing doesn't actually show what you're proposing?
That's just, so the windows in the front of the house, the proposed addition is supposed to be all 6 over 6. And then a 15 light, not sliders, but French doors out of the basement walkout. 15 glass French doors. But they're not, unfortunately, my builder, designer, did not keep up to speed with producing the drawings in a timely fashion. So unfortunately, it's not accurate, but I think I did leave a pamphlet in there of the proposed window that I was looking to use. Actual Anderson proposal there.
So I'm wondering if, at least for that front gable end facade, if you would consider doing the muttons on the exterior on those 2 windows and do 12 over 12 so it matches the whole rest of the front facade of the house, so there's continuity.
Yeah, I mean, aside from those 4 windows on the front, the entire house, all the other windows in the
Right,
entire
but the
house
front
are
is, the front's what you see from the street primarily.
correct, yeah. And the bathroom on the first floor that also faces the street
Mhm.
is 6 over 6.
Is that the one by the garage?
Yes. So I was trying to get uniformity amongst the entire house at this point, and cost and maintenance is definitely part of the equation.
The addition is, how far setback from the front of the house is the front of the addition, approximately?
Approximately 3 feet further back.
So it's not much. I was trying to make a logical point about the window on the garage, but that's set back quite a bit further, and it's also tucked into the side of the house, so it's not nearly as prominent as the front facade of the addition.
I'll tell,
So I can't really make a case for the 6 over 6 windows flanking the garage doors as being justification for 6 over 6 on the addition.
I'll
I
tell you,
think it's those 2 windows. Those 2 windows are my concern, on the 2 addition windows. The windows on the back, the windows that are not prominent to West Yarmouth Road are, speaking for myself, not a big deal in my mind. Those 2 are. So I agree with the vice chairman that it would be nice to see them mimic the four windows on the front of the house.
And I'll say this, I'll add, after your explanation, I could almost get myself to, after I said what I said, it's an addition, the original house has 12 over 12, I could almost get to 6 over 6, the problem I have, honestly, and it's unfortunate that you're a designer, you know, to not have an elevation that accurately shows what we're voting on is not good, because then it becomes, as a professor once said to me, that's called talkitecture, but we deal with architecture. So to not see it, to have to try to, what would it look like, is not right, because this is not, the reality is, this application is calling for 12 over 12s,
It
and I
shows
could actually
12.
bring myself to 6 over 6, but I do believe, particularly on that front elevation and the side, that they should have exterior muntins. And just so you know, I mean, I'm new to this committee, but I have a huge problem with the windows that years past I see go up with interior muntins on important facades, because it doesn't, there's something really lost without that shadow line, particularly if you're dealing with a house, and I'm going to say again, as a compliment, of this caliber. And I think this is such a finely built home, and it's so, like I said, when you think Cape Cod house, you think your house. I've got to tell you, I would really, whether it's 6 over 6 or 12 over, 12 over 12, I really want to see what that looks like.
The 6 over 6, in my opinion, and my wife's opinion, allows a lot more light, and it's not such a busy window with so many mutton.
So can we
It's-
arrive at a compromise? We can accept the 6 over 6 on the addition with true divided lights?
And muntins on the outside.
Just on those two, just the two windows in that front gable end, you mean?
Say what?
Just on the gable end facing the street?
Those two windows.
Those two windows.
The two windows in the front.
Can have an approval on the addition without the windows on the front.
No. Windows, you can change these two windows.
What I'm really
You
here
want 6
for
over-
is building the addition, not
No.
so worried about the front of the house.
You
right
want
now.
6 over 6 windows.
I want to replace my 70-year-old window.
I'm saying these two windows, what we're saying, are true divided light, meaning the muntins are on the outside. 6 over 6 as you want.
Okay.
Same proportion though, keep them the same proportion in terms of their width and height. And if you want to have the interior muntins on the side and the back and whatever, okay. But the two front windows, you'll use the Pella series, but with true divided light, what they call it, on these two front windows in the 6 over 6 that you wanted. And just what you said, what your point, by the way, is well taken. The reality is 12 over 12 windows, glass was very expensive and came in small sizes. We have 12 over 12 windows. Glass becomes cheaper. Let's make more light come in our house in the 19th century. So most of those 18th century houses, let me take that back, pretty much every 18th century house you see that has 6 over 6 windows are 19th century windows, because they ditched their 12 over 12 as soon as they could to put 6 over 6 in to get more light. And then you go later in the Victorian period, and we have 2 over 2, right? Even more light. So really, it's an addition to a house. 6 over 6 can make sense logically that it would be, and it does distinguish it from the old house. So, but again, 6 over 6 as you would like, but with true divided light, Pella series, just your same window,
I gotta
on the
use a
two
Pella
front.
window? It has to be a Pella
Well,
brand?
what are you using?
Proposed.
Anderson.
Anderson.
Actually like to use Matthews Brothers. to be
Anderson
honest
400
with you.
series. I apologize. Yes, I'm Anderson 400 series. They offer it with a true divided light on those two front windows only. Is that okay?
And how many, so on the front of the house, back to the front of the house,
We're just talking about,
These
we're just talking about the,
windows.
we're just talking about the addition,
Everything
Damien.
on the application,
the
I'm
addition.
judging, will be fine by us. We're focused on those two windows.
Just these two.
That's all, that's our only focus.
Okay.
So we're trying to work with you with those. And I think, as I said on one of our previous applications, I think the house would benefit from having true divided lights with the muntins on the outside.
Okay.
On only those two. So the rest,
You must
side.
have seen my garage open driving by, because all the windows are already sitting in the garage.
Oh, no, really? Oh, crap.
That's my biggest problem here, but we can work around this. If it's gotta be full divided light, then so be it.
I'm sure you can return the windows,
No,
ones you're not using.
no, windows aren't returnable when you're special ordering
I don't
certain
know.
sizes.
I'm not, don't know. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Anyone online who wishes to comment? Are we good?
Yeah, I can get
All right.
the Mutton Brothers.
So, do I hear a motion to approve this application as amended?
I make a motion to approve the application with the amendment of the 2 windows on the gable end facing the street being true divided light 6/6.
Is there a second?
I second.
And what do you say?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So just, we have to write up the amendment, and then you'll be free to go.
Yep.
There you are, thank you. And just before you leave, sign this document. Basically, what it says, if you're going to make any changes to what we've agreed to tonight, that you let us know in advance. Okay. That's correct. Okay, thank you.
Today is the 20th.
Today's the 27th.
Thank you.
Just one signature, we're good?
I think does he have to sign the amendment? I believe there's,
Signer of owner agent, yes.
so just.
Well, if you trust me to write it up exactly as we've described, including a new car for
You're in a
me.
big hurry. If you can wait a couple minutes.
Wait, I'll write it up, but if not,
I'll wait.
okay, okay.
Okay.
You're doing 1 car, do 3. You have a nice car, what are you talking about?
Are you the man with the Volvo?
Yeah. The man with the
My wife
Volvo.
Caught glimpse of you taking photos of the house.
Oh, she did?
Sure did. She
Yeah.
said, She calls me up, who's taking photos of the house?
Yeah, snooping around, doing my duty. Okay.
You have a 48 Ford?
I do.
I have a 31. Is yours stock?
Far from. It's more Pro Street, big V8, disc brakes, independent suspension.
No, mine's entirely all glorious 40 horsepower of it.
Nothing wrong with that. Mine was far from stock when I bought it when I was 17 years old.
That's great, you kept it.
Still got it. It's in pieces if you want to come over and work on it.
Yeah, I did that with mine. I'm not doing that anymore. This is the same.
I still have it.
Mine's entirely stock. So I have a 6-volt alternator instead of a generator.
Is it a pickup or what?
No, it's a 4-door slant windshield sedan.
I asked if it's a pickup or it was.
You know, the pickups, it's really hard. Sorry, I can't do two things at one point. I already made a mistake on the. Two windows. Pickups are very valuable because people wore them out. They used them and beat the hell out of them, and they wore them out. All right, come right here, sir. So what I've changed is application as submitted with the use of true divided light 6/6 windows on the 2 windows on the front facade. Oh, that's, I gotta sign that, thank you. Thank you very much.
Rick, thank you.
Thank you.
night.
Thank you for working with us, much appreciated.
Yes.
Sir? And last, but certainly not least,
All right.
Do I need to sign the amendment or no? Do I need to sign the amendment on that or no? Just, do I need to sign the amendment on that last one?
He did it.
Do we all need to sign it or no?
What?
Do I need to sign it? Do we all need to sign it?
amendment? I
The
don't
amendment.
think so, no.
You signed what you needed to sign.
Okay.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is to fence in a yard at 492 Route 6A. Taylor J. N.T. and Robert Davis are the owners, and you are?
I'm Taylor J. Nerney Tuzen Davis. You can see why I abbreviate it.
Okay,
I go by TJ.
TJ, okay.
May we call you TJ?
Please do. Absolutely.
So TJ, would you like to present your application to us?
Absolutely. First of all, just a quick note, it is 482, not 492, just for
Okay.
the
Yes,
the
I'm
record.
sorry, you're absolutely right.
Want to make sure we're not approving someone
No,
else's
no.
fence, hopefully, yeah. But what you see here is a proposal for a fully fenced backyard using a combination of 3 to 4 different types of fencing, trying to bear in mind cost as well as from the street, authenticity to Cape standard.
I understand that front picket fence. You want, the fact that grazing sheep eating your front lawn is rough.
Absolutely. But I also am very passionate about gardening, and I love the idea of an English cottage garden right out the front walk. So very excited about that prospect. When it comes to the rear of the yard, I'm passionate about my dogs not leaving the yard. So
What kind of dogs do you have?
we have 2 absolutely fantastic Heinz 57 mixes. They've got a little bit of everything.
Healthier,
They're very durable.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to speak. I think your house is lovely. I drive by it every day. I live on Wiano,
Oh, okay.
so I turn right on Neshoba after, why can't I think of the name of the place? Paul's place there.
Royal 2.
Royal 2, thank you. And I drive by it every day, and I've noticed your home, and I think it's lovely what you want to do.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to adding some additional character and hopefully improving the property that we now stored is the idea.
So I'm curious why you picked 4 different types of fencing.
So this is actually for a couple of different reasons. In the back of the home, there's quite a bit of greenery and growth around the perimeter of the yard. But there are spots that in the wintertime, all of a sudden the neighbors get extremely close because all of that greenery dies off. So we'd be looking at the the southwestern corner. Here you can see the property of the neighbors to the front of the shed. They're very close.
So can you tell me on this little plot plan what line you're talking about?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Apologies. So looking at the 6-foot privacy fence on this section, due
Right.
to the abutting lot being quite close.
Oh, I
once
see.
that
Okay.
undergrowth goes away. And here we have a little sitting area, and we'd be looking at some point, putting in a little patio, maybe flagstone, not at this time, though, I promise. And so having that be a little more private really fits that need. As you progress to the back of the property, because of the growth in the greenery, we find that a 6-foot privacy fence is a bit of overkill, to be honest. Having a yard division is nice, but we also want to let wildlife kind of come and go. And I'll be honest, it was also a cost-saving measure, so that's part of it as well.
So I'm kind of trying to understand your diagram. So looking at this right here. So from the front of the house running this direction, that's the 4-foot picket fence along the front.
4-foot space.
Then this is stockade, then converts to split rail?
Yes,
So the stockade is just for privacy on that first section abutting the neighbors?
correct.
And is this a building here?
Yes, that's a little shed.
'Cause I thought I noticed like a pergola or something,
There's an arbor.
an arbor.
There's an
Okay.
arbor.
Right here, and that would be gated.
So would the fence be in line with that arbor?
Yes, it would, to the front side of that arbor.
So the section of fences that extend from the house to the stockade fences, the sections that are parallel to 6A,
Yes.
those are 4-foot?
4-foot spaced picket, yes.
Okay. So I'm wondering, how do you intend to transition from the 6-foot stockade fence along the perimeter sides of of your property to the 4-foot fence?
That would be just a corner. There would not be a transition panel.
Have you thought about sloping it down from the 6 feet, having a panel that abuts that section, those sections in the front, so that you have a transition?
We did think about that actually, but because that join is not visible and we plan to reforest the front of the lot on that side.
You
we
plan,
thought
I'm sorry, you
possibly-
plan what?
Reforesting, we're planning on putting up more trees. So it would actually make that join invisible from the street.
And what you're showing in front of the house,
Yes,
describe that to me?
that's going to be 3-foot space picket to match the parallel off the side of the house, but at a lower height.
And that, you intend for that to be fully enclosed? Or there'll be a pathway? You have a front door there, so you're gonna have a pathway
We do,
entrance
we
through
plan to
that?
have 3 gates
I mean, on that front 3-foot section?
on
The
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 front.
3-foot section in the front, for your little English garden in the front?
Yes, we
is-
plan to have 3 gates.
Oh, and there you do, okay.
So one on each side across from each other, and then the one that goes down the walkway as well for front
Okay.
access.
And then there's a gate over on the right side with the 4-foot picket that connects the rear corner of the house out to the side property line, and there's a gate
And
there.
that would be the driveway access.
Oh, that's the driveway there, okay.
So recognizing what you're saying about vegetation camouflaging the disparity in height between the stockade and the sections of fence that are parallel to 6A, this committee in the past has advocated for the transition.
Understandably so.
Is that something that you're adamantly opposed to?
I'm not adamantly opposed to it at all.
I don't know how the other members of the committee feel, but I personally think a transition would be
I
nice.
think that looks nice, but I'm still, I'm sorry, I'm still a little confused with your key. So the only stockade fence is right here, correct?
There's also one on the northeast corner as well.
Here?
Yes, the neighbors have a large swing set area and a pool as well, and so we wanted to
So it's
provide more privacy on
partially
that
stockade,
section.
then it transitions to split rail?
It does. The split rail is in front of very thick vegetation that provides that privacy.
Then it's split rail across the back property line?
Yes.
And then split rail here until you get to the little building, and then stockade.
That's correct.
I would agree that the transition is probably a nice thing, to have it come down and,
Well, then how do you transition down to the stockade fence? Because you've got, but down in the split rail, you've got stockade fence for, I don't know, 80 feet, I don't know how many feet it is, and then that
Stockade has
connects
the
to,
transition.
but on the front and the rear. Because in the front, it transitions to a 4-foot-high picket, and the rear, it transitions to a 3-foot-high split rail fence,
Also, I'm not
halfway down the
sure if-
property line.
I'm not sure if this is relevant, but it is an invisible transition in the back area due to vegetation and no visibility from the street as well.
So I'm,
Vegetation sometimes dies or gets removed.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm focused on the visibility. So my concern is what's closer to 6A than what's in the back of your property. It would be nice to see transitions everywhere where you've got disparate heights, but my personal priority would be to see a transition on, as you're looking from 6A at the house, on the left side of the property for that section where it joins the stockade fence. The stockade fence runs along the entire left side of the property, correct?
No, it
No.
does not. It
What
only goes
happens,
back
what
halfway.
happens, so the stockade fence
Runs for
is
70
120 feet, and then it changes to what as you come forward?
no, the split rail is 120 feet.
This is stockade, and then,
split rail.
so, all right, so the stockade is is,
And this is stockade, and this is split rail.
I know it seems odd, but I swear with the vegetation and the plantings, it makes visual sense and actually looks quite organic.
Am I correct? The stockade is the 70 feet from the front corner back. Then it goes to split rail for 120,
Yep.
then 100,
Across
then
the back.
90.
Well,
it
then
goes
90
back
is, no,
to
the-
s-
The
no, that 90 is
also
stockade in the back
To
corner.
provide some privacy
So the
from the
90 is
neighbor's yard.
stockade, the 70 is stockade, and the rest is split rail. And then the front, it's the 48,
4-foot picket.
4-foot, 48-foot picket, 48-foot
And the
picket with a
3-foot
gate,
picket in
and
the
then the
very
3-foot
front.
picket in the front.
Yes.
Okay. So
well, at the very least, I would like to see the transition on that front left corner, at the very
willing
least.
to do that.
Okay. On the other side, I think it would be nice to see the transition also.
front
I'm not,
corner.
well, no, it's actually halfway back. It's between 90 and 90.
Or with the stockade transitions to the split rail, you mean, right? 90 and 90, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 transition points. We're talking about the front left corner, and we're talking about midway along the right side.
90 feet. And then when you turn the 90 degrees to the split rail, yeah, okay, it just ends, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
I would
personally.
agree.
Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so there are no.
You're gonna make me write an amendment, aren't you?
Yes, you. I'm looking forward to
It
it.
is hysterical
He's looking
only
forward to
because
this one.
I completely understand. My mom, when she fenced in her yard, used different types of fencing, and when she was explaining it, I was like, "That's insane. What is it going to look like?" And knowing now the yard and the plantings and the fact that this fence is like squished in between greenery on both sides, totally willing to do the transition. But it is funny because
Well,
one will ever see the transition.
well, just looking at the drawing,
Yes.
my initial feeling was, this is a mishmash. This looks like,
Feels that way very much, but because of how many trees and plants and bushes are back there, all of the points are hidden by yew on one side and a shed on the other. And then on the back side, there's cypress against Rose of Sharon against an enormous batch of Japanese holly. And we've tried to preserve as much as we possibly could. We didn't want to cut down anything. So it kind of weaves in between.
Okay, but you're okay with those two transition points?
Yes, I am.
And sort of a nice ski slope transition?
Yeah, and it will-
Okay, I'm getting,
Is it 2 or 3?
I think it's 2.
Two.
There's one on the corner, and then is it where the gate is for the driveway? Is there one there?
No, 'cause
That's
that's,
split.
No, because that wraps around
it's halfway back.
and goes 90 feet back. And then there's one, got it,
Okay.
got it. I'll
So-
have this written up by probably.
10 o'clock tonight, you'll be free to
I
go.
promise you by no later than a week from Tuesday,
If
I'll have it
anyone
written
would
up.
like to contribute to the fence fund, I'm also happy to add in one kind of fence only.
Will you contribute to my carpal tunnel surgery for writing up this amendment?
Absolutely. Donations are welcome.
I would ask for comments from the public, but I don't see any public here, and I don't think there's anyone online. So do I hear a motion?
I move to approve this application that has an onerous amendment for me to write.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Have to wait just a little longer.
No problem.
And I can work on Rick's carpal tunnel.
I'm going to become one of those, this is going to have to be written up like one of those patent attorney, thus from a point approximately located heading in a direction. Oh, look what
JT?
Lisa did for me.
JT? Sorry, TJ.
Lisa.
So, in the future, it would have been maybe a little helpful if you had some photographs of some of all the,
The transition.
no,
points.
just all of the greenery you have back there, so we could get a sense of where the fence is going relative to all the greenery.
I thought about doing that, and then I thought, well, they don't care what kind of bushes are nearby.
No, just to
Now I
see
know.
how it's all being, the transitions are not going to be so visible and stuff.
There's enormous yew bushes on one side, and
They
then-
don't do enough to screen out the neighbors, unfortunately.
No, because that's why we have the fence going in on that section, but
Right.
where the transitions occur, they're completely blocked. So,
So, but you don't have enough shrubs back where the back right stockade is
they're
going.
not evergreens, unfortunately, not on that particular strip. And then we have cypresses across the front, so,
It's a nice house, though.
we certainly love it.
Have you been there a while?
So we purchased it in, let's see, a year and a half ago now. But I'm from the Cape originally, so it was coming home for me.
Excellent.
So that front, it's a 48-inch picket fence on the side that we're transitioning from.
Yes.
So while you're waiting, if you'd be so kind as to sign this, which basically says if you're going to make any changes, to please let us know. Okay, and when Mr. Ventrone is done, you will
My
be able to
hand.
leave.
It's quite interesting. The property was actually halved off from the Thatcher house that's right next door. It's,
To your right or your left?
when you're facing north from 6A and you're looking at the front of the house.
Okay.
House to the right was the father's house, and he halved his lot, and his son built our house in 1925. So, but part of the reason for the funny fencing is because when they divided the lot, they planted trees directly on the lot line.
And I live in a Thatcher house they moved a house really close by for their daughter, and our property line goes like this.
couldn't bring myself to cut down any trees.
You and that.
I know, right? We had to take one down in the front yard because it was infested with something that was eating it, but I've got 7 more going in, so.
Nice.
He's still writing.
I'm so sorry.
The opus is almost done, I can tell.
Yes, yes.
You all need a court stenographer.
I think his title is Vice Chair and Secretary.
And Secretary, this is what I wrote. There shall be a sloping transition from stockade to 48-inch picket fence on the southwest corner of the property, as well as a sloping transition from the stockade fence on the east line of the property 90 feet back from the southeast corner.
Correct.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Okay.
So just so we're clear, and you understand, I think you do, so it's going to be there and there.
That's right. She's got it.
Where do I sign here? Oh, there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck with
Thanks,
it.
TJ. Good luck.
Good night.
You as well.
By the way, I've worked with Reliable, and they're great.
What was that?
Reliable Fence, they're great.
Oh, they are good.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked with them before.
To be honest, I was so impressed. We got quotes from 4, 5 companies. Yeah, they're a
They're
good one
good.
to go with.
Good.
Good
Good
night.
luck.
Good night, thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I don't believe we can discuss this other than reference it.
Before we do that,
We have the minutes.
we need to approve the minutes.
Oh, yes.
So, we had some changes to the minutes. I think they've all been codified and made official. So do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the February 13th Little Kings Highway Committee meeting with the changes that were made.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The next meeting is March 13th, 2023, and I'll just quickly report on the appeal that I participated
yes.
in for a house in Sandwich. It was very interesting. This is a 1930 house. It's on, I would characterize it, an east side gateway to the town of Sandwich, sort of across from the road that takes you down to Fisherman's View and all of that.
Right on 6A?
Pardon me?
Right on 6A?
It's just off of 6A, where 6A continues, and if you were to take a left, you'd be heading toward the Coast Guard Station and Fisherman's View, and if you bear to the right, you'd be eventually getting into the town of Sandwich. This house is right near that divide on the right-hand side. It's a house that was constructed in 1930. It's essentially a pure house. And the issue was whether or not the town of Sandwich's Old Kings Highway Committee was correct in denying the application for replacing the windows on the house like for like. The windows had been changed about 20 or 30 years ago to vinyl windows without divided lights. The house originally had, and this is the Macris file revealed this, the house originally had 2/2 windows. So what was resolved was the Committee of Sandwich's decision was upheld unanimously because at the meeting where the application was denied, it had been suggested to the applicant that they could reach a compromise and have the front windows restored to the 2/2 and allow the like-for-like replacement on the windows that were not prominent to the street. So, that's how that went, and is there any other business to discuss? Or should we adjourn and discuss after? What would you?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I was going to suggest was that perhaps we add an agenda item for discussion at our next meeting regarding additions that have been done, alterations to buildings that have not, for which they were completed and an application wasn't submitted. And it has come to the attention.
You're talking about violations?
Violations, yes, sir. That's a better way to put it.
All right.
That we could discuss these, which it couldn't be put on the agenda for tonight. Ms. Eckert had seen a few things that I think we need to discuss.
Okay. Anything else?
Just
Yes.
one thing, I just want to let you guys know that the alternates are up for approval at the Board of Selectmen meeting tomorrow.
Ah,
So both of your folks are on the agenda.
Okay.
Is that here in this room?
Mm-hmm.
And is it open,
Yes.
or we can watch it on?
Yep. Yep. 6
and it will be
starts at
very
6.
late. They do it at the end of their meetings,
Yes.
which go on for hours.
Do.
Contentious things coming up tomorrow.
Even
too,
if I'm
so it's
having
gonna be
trouble
late.
sleeping, I'll watch it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So I move to adjourn.
I think we should stay here all night.
I'll take that as a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.